Season 2 of Marvel Rivals drops today, and since I had early access to emmafrost, I wanted to give you some gameplay tips and my initial thoughts about the character after trying her out for a bit. Emma has an interesting kit, but it's quite difficult to really pin down her real power level. Her ultimate ability is nuts, but a lot of her normal strength involves maximizing her diamond form. But if you mess it up, you sort of stand around like an idiot and it just doesn't feel good. But anyway, we'll get to that. I'm just gonna rattle off how some of her abilities work and what I think about them. Alright, let's start with Emma's basic attack. So the range on it is only 15 meters. It's a pretty short range. And the damage on it does ramp up with that little meter in the middle of my screen, but it ramps up very slowly. It's very, very difficult basically to get it to 100 unless you're basic attacking a lot. If you hit a shield or something like that, it'll actually stop generating, or a Groot wall, for example, will block it from generating. And if we stop attacking, it only takes a few seconds before it very rapidly decreases again. So getting it to 100 takes a little bit. It's definitely hard. And shields from Magneto, Groot, etc., Doctor Strange, they can all block the damage and stop you from generating that. So it's not the greatest attack ever. It's easy to hit. And it's kind of fun to track people and hit them, but again, it's not the greatest attack ever. Hitting someone that's high up in the air, for example, extremely difficult. 15 meters is not far when they're up there flying, so she's not very good against the flyers. Now, when you do build up your charge a little bit here, I'll show you. All right, so we're gonna build it up, and then if I go into diamond form, it actually holds my charge for the entire duration that I'm in diamond form. Okay. So remember that, diamond form holds the charge. When I come back out, I can continue to charge my attack. So if you get it up to 100, you go in diamond form, do your thing. When you come out, you'll still be at 100 charge. So that's good at least. The damage that her basic attack does to like a sentience crystal, I'm gonna call them crystals quite often. It's based on the health of the character that you use it on. So like, I'll show you here, if I just hit a full health one with a crystal and I'm just basic attacking the crystal, it takes a couple seconds to actually kill that crystal for a low HP character. But if we go up to like a tanky character, like up here, and we hit this guy with a crystal, right? It takes much longer to break it. So yes, it's doing damage to the character just the same, but it just takes longer to break the crystal. We'll get into the crystal a little bit after this. They only last for 5 seconds, so that extra damage that you need to break it sometimes really matters. But yeah, just remember that the damage, it doesn't do bonus damage or anything like that to the crystal. It's just based on the health of the target that you use the crystal on. And honestly, get used to her basic attack. You're going to be using it a lot. You're in this form more often than using your diamond form. Your diamond form only lasts for 8 seconds and is on a 15-second cooldown. So you're going to be doing a lot of jumping around, hiding behind your shield, and basic attacking people. Okay, Emma's second ability to go over is her Mind's Aegis shield. It's her right-click shield. It only has 500 HP, which is less than a Groot E-wall, his big wall. It's not very good at protecting yourself, depending how you place it. Opponents can still shoot like your feet if you're standing on the sides of it. So the crystal shape here is a little awkward compared to a square. When it's broken, it does regenerate very slowly. And again, it has less health than a Groot wall. So if, you know, they're playing like Punisher and he's got a ammo overload or something, he just breaks through it instantly. So it's kind of a weird ability. It's not very good against ranged attacks because it just, you know, it doesn't last very long and it takes a long time to regenerate. And it's not good against melee because they can just walk right through it or, you know, just punch you right through it. So, it's not the greatest thing ever. It does take a little bit of practice to place it at range. Like if you're trying to block for somebody else, you can kind of let it go flying out like this by holding it. But if you want to bring it back quickly, you can just aim at the ground, right? And it comes right back to you and kind of resets. So that kind of takes a little bit of getting used to, especially if you're trying to use it on an angle to try and help somebody. It definitely takes a little bit of practice. Also, the shield has a 3-second cooldown, so if we place it here and we want to place it again somewhere else, we have to wait 3 seconds at least. Or if we place it and then we cancel it, we have to wait 3 seconds as well. So sometimes it just depends in the chaos. Maps that are a little more enclosed, it's easier to just put it up and it blocks pretty much everything. But maps that are a little more wide open, that have bigger open spaces, you can easily place it and it practically does nothing. It just depends. Like you could be here and the opponents just go around the side and start hitting you, whatever. So the shield's a little awkward, but I mean, it's solid. It does its job, I guess. Okay, moving on to her Psychic Spear, which is her E ability, which I call the crystal sometimes. It's really kind of a strange ability. The range on firing it is quite good. Like, you can hit somebody from pretty far away with it and just make the crystals come out, and you can do damage to the crystal. But you'll notice here, see the little blue barrier? That's the edge of the tether range, basically, for the crystal. So if I'm far away from somebody and I'm using it, they barely have to move to get out of range of the crystal. So if they're already backing up when you use it, they just basically get out of range before you ever can kill it, unless they're very low on health. Especially a tank character or something like that. So if they're already moving backwards and you hit them with it, not the greatest thing ever. Even just up front, like, it does solid damage, and it makes it like a little mini onk, like a Moon Knight thing that you can hit easily. But it's still, the payoff isn't the greatest thing ever. I kind of wish that if you like destroy the crystal, if you're successful in casting the crystal and then blowing it up, that you should be rewarded with like 50 shields or something like that. Just keep in mind, emmafrost has no self-healing and no self-shields at all. This is a shield, but it doesn't protect her body directly. And again, they can break it easily. But I'm kind of thinking like her E should maybe reward her for actually landing it and finishing the deal. It only lasts for 5 seconds when you actually land the E on somebody. And that can also, you could hit an E on someone just as a group puts a wall in front of your face or something. And now you can't even hit the crystal, and you don't get any damage done. You don't get the shields. Well, there's no shields, but you don't get any reward, basically. It can be quite difficult. A full health tank that you land your E on, and if you have no charges on your basic attack especially, it can be quite difficult to actually destroy the crystal. It looks easy here because these are low health characters, but against a tank, it's a totally different story. Another thing with the crystal is that only Emma can actually hit the crystal in order to break it. I've tried with the bots in here trying to hit it. I've tried it in other games. I've never seen anyone else do damage to it. So even if you place it in front of the bots over there that are shooting at each other, yeah, basically only Emma can hit the crystal and break it. So that's another reason why, yes, it's pretty difficult to break. Yeah, it adds some damage to it, but the payoff just doesn't really seem worth it too much. It's extra damage, you should do it, but it's nothing crazy. Okay, so we're getting to the good stuff now. We're going to talk about Diamond Form. So it's her shift ability. It transforms her into basically a melee character. You get damage reduction, which is about 35% from my calculation, and you become unstoppable. So you can't be stunned or slept or anything like that. It's kind of the big cooldown. It's got a 15-second cooldown, right? And the fact that you lose all your ranged abilities, you can't use your shield, you can't use this, you can't use your E, you can't use any of that once you hit shift. If you already land a crystal and then you use your shift, you can punch the crystal and break it. But other than that, you can't do anything else. So we're going to go in crystal form here, diamond form, and then if you hit E, she only dashes 5 yards with her diamond form and using her E. Okay, that's it. And if you dash right away, you can dash a second time. I believe it's on a 5-second cooldown. Diamond form lasts for 8 seconds. So you could dash twice. So basically what they're thinking you're going to do is dash, which if you dash into somebody, it actually grabs them and flips them over your body, like so, right? So you go in diamond form, you dash, grab, and then you're going to right click and kick them into a wall, ideally. So the kick, it does damage itself, but it does bonus damage if you kick them into a wall. It's great when it works, okay? It's extremely powerful, but there's drawbacks to it. So a good player, I should say against certain tanks, it's not nearly as effective, like highly mobile tanks, Venom, Hulk, something like that. They're not going to just be standing in front of you, right? They're all over the place. They're out of range. They're whatever. Not too often, Captain America, you're not going to be able to grab him too often. So most of the time you're going to be facing down like a Magneto or a Doctor Strange or something. And if you can turn into this and you can manage to grab them and combo them and kick them back a little bit, it's not too bad, right? It's pretty solid. But there's going to be quite often where you either miss your E, or the second that you turn into diamond form, the Doctor Strange lifts himself off into the sky, which then you just sit here like this and stare at him. You can't really do anything. You could try an E, but it only goes 5 meters and he's higher than that already. So it can be very awkward to crack it and everyone just gets the hell away from you. Again, against range teams, if they're running like Hella Punisher, Rocket Raccoon, and Luna Snow or something as their backline, none of those targets are going to be in range of you. You don't have any other gap closer to get up to them. They're just going to kind of walk away, right? It just doesn't feel good sometimes against them. If you're fighting like Groot or something, you know, if he sees you go in diamond form, he can quickly put a wall or two down and back his ass up, and you basically can't use your diamond form. It's gone, right? And now you'll get punished on the flip side of that. You're going to get punished when they know that your 15-second damage reduction cooldown that makes you a pretty big threat is just gone. Now you're just a ranged tank with a 15-meter basic attack and a crappy, you know, ranged shield, and they basically can kind of pounce on you with that. Especially like good melee players, like let's say an Iron Fist is coming in, he might dive on you and start punching you and kicking you. He's hoping to bait out your diamond form, and the moment you crack it, he shifts away, and then he knows for 15 seconds you are exposed. So it's something to think about. If you use the diamond form, it lasts for 8 seconds, but if you cancel it early or something, it still goes on its full cooldown. It's still a full 15 seconds, even if you cast it, or even if you cancel it early. I also want to point out that diamond form is very strong, you know, against the Doctor Strange or a Penny or a Captain America or something like that if you can grab them. But it's terrible against like the Thing. I think the Thing is the biggest counter to emmafrost. He can't be displaced, so he can't be kicked away. He can't be grabbed. He can just punch right through her shield. He's not really afraid of her at all, right? I think the Thing is a big time counter to emmafrost. So we'll see if I mean, he's already played, he's already popular, but we'll see if he really becomes more popular to counter her specifically. Also, I think it should be pointed out that the diamond form can kind of bait you into doing dumb shit. Like you go diamond form, you dash forward, you try and grab the Doctor Strange, maybe you do grab him, and then you kick him into a wall, but it's like now you're kind of standing in an awkward spot, especially since your perspective turned around backwards. You grabbed him, flipped him over your head, you're staring back at your team, but the whole enemy team is behind you. It's a very high risk, high reward move. You really want to make it worth the while. It should be noted that also you can, kick people out of like a Sue ult, something like that, or you can kick people into Groot walls. Like there's lots of applications for the grab and the kick. It's going to take a lot of practice to really realize when you should do it and when you shouldn't. Okay, so moving on to the best part of her kit is her ultimate. When Emma uses her ultimate ability, anyone hit by it cannot activate their own ultimate ability. If they already started doing it, like Iron Man started his windup, he'll still fire his ultimate. But effectively, if you hit them with your ultimate, they are silenced and cannot press their Q button to use their ultimate. It's insane. The range on it is incredibly long. The radius actually gets bigger the further away you are. So if you stand way back and you use it, it's got about a 25-meter range. You can basically just look in the direction of the enemy team and you'll use your ult on all of them. It's kind of got a weird hitbox in a way. I'll show it off here, but it looks like the enemies might be in the square, like they should be getting hit by it visually, but they're not actually getting hit by it. This is way more prominent when you're up close to the enemies. So that is another good reason just to kind of back up when you use it. I think it's an initiating ult for sure. You want to be the one that just turns the corner and cracks your ult, and you're hoping that it's kind of like a combo piece. Like for example, you turn the corner, use the ult, everyone else is kind of shut down, and now your Groot ults all of them, and their Luna can't ult, or their Mantis can't ult, or whatever. They can't use something to counter the big Groot ult. Or it's something to help, like if your magic uses her ult, you can use yours in conjunction, and then your magic can get more value out of her ability. It's obviously very strong. It's very easy to land it on people. Again, she's kind of countered by like Groot walls and stuff. He's definitely a strong pick against her, but it's fun to use. It's the strongest piece of her kit, and it's one of those things where if you're spending I feel like playing her a little bit safer at first and just kind of using your basic attack to attack tanks and kill crystals and build ultimates and just practicing that and finding the right opportunity to use your diamond form. Building quick ults is just like pure money. It's just pure value. It really helps in those close fights on a payload in a choke point where you're just trying to push through and everyone's kind of clumped up and there's one of those big clumped up fights, well, she's just going to hit everybody with her ult and it's probably going to lead to a victory. So it's great on its own, but it's even better if it's just like one other person combos and just annihilates a team. Like Star-Lord is another good example. You crack your ult and you start channeling it on the enemy healers and the enemy team, and your Star-Lord uses his ult and they just kind of sit there dumbstruck. Nothing they can do. They're dead. I think my overall thoughts on emmafrost are that she's not really as strong as I first thought. Like, she's kind of like a secondary tank that I'd want. Her team up with Magneto is fantastic, and honestly, Magneto kind of covers some of her weaknesses because he does have so much self-protection and she doesn't have much self-protection. So I would love to have like a Magneto standing in front of me and I'm just standing, beside him, and we can kind of cover each other's ass, and she can really, put crystals down and hit people and do damage and find the right opportunity to dash in and grab somebody. And of course, Magneto's shield will help her as well to sustain herself when she actually does dive in. But I think as like a solo tank, no, there's a lot of risk here. Unless I'm missing something, I don't see how she's a good solo tank, really. You got to have some crazy DPS players with you that are gonna, duelist their ass off and win some fights. But her self-sustain just isn't really there, and she can get bullied by melee characters and melee tanks, and especially if they play around her diamond form. There's not much she can do about it. If you think about it, if people are up in your face, your diamond form is down, you have no self-shielding capabilities, no healing, you don't have any crowd control without diamond form, you can't stun anyone or slow them, you have no mobility, your damage is quite low. Like, she's very susceptible to just getting beat down at the wrong time. So play it safe, keep that in mind. I also think that her ability to protect other players on the team is quite limited. Like, yeah, she's got basically a hit scan tracking basic attack, but its damage is very low, and if you're like turning around trying to use it to help against a Spider-Man or a Black Panther or something, like, you're just missing so much of it. You're hardly building it. Her shield is not very good at throwing her shield backwards and protecting someone from ranged attacks either. It's just, she's kind of like, she wants to be facing forward the whole time, and it's very hard for her to protect other people. Against the right team comps, she feels like a mini Wolverine, right? You don't want to be close to her. You're afraid that when she's gonna turn into diamond form and grab you and kick you into a freaking wall. But against like ranged team comps, she falls off a cliff in her functionality then, right? They're basically never going to be in range unless someone else uses an ult or something. They're never going to be in range for her to grab anyone. She's never going to be able to hardly hit them with her 15-meter basic attack range. So she really falls short against, Punisher, Bucky, Hela, Hawkeye, Black Widow, whatever they're playing that's range, Namor. It's very difficult for her to close the gap in any meaningful way, and her 500-point shield just does not hold up. And then the last thing, just to touch on her ultimate, it's incredibly good. It's got an excellent range on it. There's no weakness to the ultimate. It's just like, damn, this thing's crazy, right? But again, they can counter it a little bit. They do have a little bit of time to act before you actually shut them down. Teams will learn to spread out a little bit, so they can avoid getting everyone in the gaze. It combos really well with other people. On its own, it's still strong. You're gonna see all kinds of clips about people getting walked off edges or just like her 1v6ing, but yeah, it's so much of her power is packed into her ultimate that a lot of the rest of her kit is just kind of like, we have to find the value, and that might take some time, and she needs some backup. Overall, the character is fun. That's the main thing. She is a lot of fun to play. It's kind of like this hybrid play style, and it's fun to find those opportunities, and it's a lot of fun to grab someone, choke them, throw them over your shoulder and kick them into a wall. But other times you sit there and it's like, wow, I just feel obsolete compared to some of the tanks we're used to, especially in melee range when everyone's around you and you're trying to use your little shield to protect yourself. So overall, emmafrost, great addition to the game. Very happy that we have a new Vanguard, not a duelist. I will be playing her as much as I can, whenever I can. I love learning new characters. I stream pretty much daily on twitch.tv/Silva66, and you'll see a lot of me in Season 2. So thanks so much for watching. I hope everyone loves Emma Frost, and I'll see you in Season 2. Take care.